Sesame Street was one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid. Kermit the Frog was the best character with his new segments with the fairy tale characters. I was so saddened when it ended, and more bereaved when they finally removed Kermit. The movies contained him still, but it just wasn't fun to see him anymore. Oh, the suffering. The suffering of losing Kermit the Frog from my life. As I grew up, I forgot somewhat about Kermit the Frog, but never forgot about him. Not entirely, anyway. One day in 2012, while I was scratching my balls, I was talking to my buddy, Pat. He told me that he had an ancient tape of Sesame Street called A Day in Kermit Land, featuring Kermit the Frog in an unaired episode. However, he never told me where or how he produced the tape. I didn't think too much about it at the time. Maybe I had an uncle who was an intern or something. I didn't really think about how suspicious it was. And Pat gave it to me for the low price of $50. I dug into my attic and unearthed the VCR. Once I connected the coax tables and set it up with my TV, I opened up the tape box and found it was really like a blank cassette in black Sharpie, spelling Kermit Tortureland tape. Oh, wow. I figured it was a typo by a Creepypasta troll in an attempt to ruin a childhood tape. Oh, I bet Dave the Useless had something to do with this. No, I shouldn't have preconceived notions like that. I pressed play once it was in the VCR. The Sesame Street tape played as normal, but I had a feeling of dread. The colors were a bit hyper and pale at the same time, and the audio was a bit grainy. I brushed it off when I saw the episode was in the 60s and presumed it was due to the age of the tape. But I was still suspicious as to how it was in mint condition. Weird. Suddenly the tape seized and went to a black screen with different audio than before. Like the tune and circus music combined into one track. There were colorful words, but it was in Arial lettering and was too large for the screen. Kermit in Kermit Land. Kermit in Kermit Land? How original. Then it transitioned to the next scene with somewhat poor quality. Kermit was in a blank room with clown posters and few lights by himself, looking a bit somber. He was in his news apparel. Then he saw the screen. Oh, hi there. Kermit the Frog here, and today we're in a special place dedicated to me, Kermit Land Park. I smiled as the similarity came back to me. It must have been a typo on the tape by a troll. Did they have different voice actors, though? I could have sworn Kermit's voice wasn't as high-pitched before. It almost reminded me of George Jetson. Another Muppet, Elmo, soon came on the screen, but another wave of suspicion soon came back. Elmo hadn't been created yet. He also looked somewhat unhappy. I decided to turn it off after realizing I had better things to do. Just kidding, I had nothing to do, but I like to tell myself that. But the button was stuck and I couldn't eject the tape. Now listen, I've read Creepypasta before, and that was when I realized I'd made a big mistake in buying that tape from Pat. The cartoon continued. They were talking about the development of the park and how great Kermit was at Sesame Street as a news reporter. Yeah, right. Probably fake news. Kermit. The film continued to degrade bit by bit, and the two Muppets started to look at me with smiles. Now they were in Kermit Land. Well, so this is the, place? It looks different than what I may have expected, Elmo buddy.
That's how it is for everyone. Elmo worked very hard to make people happy.
It was still getting creepy, and in that moment I realized I was late for work. I still couldn't eject the tape. Now I was afraid. You don't want this fun to end, do you, Elmo buddy?
No, never. What about you, kitty?
All at once there was a sine wave with the screen building up in a black flash. I closed my eyes tight from fear and heard a grotesque scream from the TV, but didn't dare open my eyes. I wasn't going to be traumatized anytime soon. I kept my eyes closed and walked out of my house by memory until I was outside and heard the sine wave and nothing more. Once I made it to my job, I explained my absence as being a result of oversleeping. I checked my email. I received a new message and found it was from an unknown email. I thought it was something for penis enlargement again, but no, the subject was Kermit Land 2. What was this, like a Game Boy game, like Super Mario Land? Bullshit. I wasn't ready to see what was beyond that either and prepared to delete it. But an error message came up that said it couldn't be deleted, nor could I exit out of my email. I called for my coworker to ask him what the fuck was going on, but he also couldn't fathom it. Suddenly the mouse began moving on its own and selected the file to download. I couldn't turn the damn thing off. My coworker left me to get the boss to see if the computer had a virus of some sort. The file proceeded to play. I heard the sine wave resume from part 1, and this time I saw Kermit and Big Bird in the land. I could barely make out what they were saying. Such a shame Elmo couldn't see it finished.
Sure is, Kermit.
Okay, had Elmo died? Was he sick? This seemed all too morbid. But that's because he was in the way. Just like you. Suddenly there was more screaming. I closed my eyes again and covered my ears. My coworker was in the room again because I heard his shoes. My eyes were forced open and I saw a hyper-realistic version of Big Bird on fire. The puppet body was... Oh, there were strings. It was attached to strings, and his eyes were swollen and teary as he looked out with sorrow and pleading, all the while he screamed. The strings broke away and sizzled as the person controlling the puppet also began to burn horribly. Cut! Cut! This wasn't... Get some water! I was in utter shock. Once I was home, I went on Google and looked up Sesame Street Wikia. No matter where I looked, I saw no record of anything relating to Kermit Land. So I checked on one of those sketchy internet forums on Reddit. I found the following post on Ask the Donald. RadSpike45. I found some kind of lost episode on the web. Do not watch it. Fiddlesticks. Of what? RadSpike45. Sesame Street. But don't look it up. It's satanic, I swear. Fiddlesticks. Like why? Devil worship? Nice try. RadSpike45. No, around 1965 there were kidnappings surrounding the Muppets and 2 children from a local hospital. Rumors said that they heard whispers come from their TV set and they decided to watch Sesame Street before their surgeries. The next day they were nowhere to be seen and 2 puppets resembling their favorite Muppet characters were there instead. The kids were never heard from again, but strange VHS tapes appeared near the homes of the missing kids. The parents saw the favorite Muppets and heard soft crying from the camera somewhere. They made theories but didn't succeed. It was said that it revolves around a supposed amusement park called Kermit Land. This is a trap. Don't watch it. The families disappeared too. Just the third. Ignore. I was in utter shock once again. Further research proved that this indeed did happen during 1965. That urban legend spawned that the final tape caused something bad to happen. But I didn't believe it one bit. I mean, this isn't real life. Right? Right? Right, it's not. It's not at all. My TV soon turned on by itself, and the remote was missing. Kermit and the other Muppets were torn apart. Only the charred remains of Big Bird were still standing.
If I can't have Kermit Land, they can't either.
Elmo? No, it was Big Bird. His feathers revealed Big Bird was nothing more than a human. A black gentleman, Pat. Big Bird grabbed a scalpel and began to slice his neck like giblets, not even wincing.
I killed those kids and all the Muppets, all for Kermit Land to survive. Now a new Kermit will keep itself busy. Look behind you.
Scared shitless, I turned around. Nothing was there but the mirror. The reflection suddenly showed something coming out of my mouth. Elmo? He disappeared. And now it was back.
Let's have fun today.
I woke up with a scream. It was all a dream. Until I saw the killer Elmo rushing at my bed with the head of Kermit.